Welcome to the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast, building experiences that connect, remove friction, and deliver insights. Well, hi everyone, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Ed Kless, and with me today is Glen Hodgson. Glen is the founder of the think tank Trade Europa, and also leads a stakeholder initiative on the work of the future, Freelance Movement, in Northern Europe. Glen has worked for the European institutions as well as governments, blue chip international companies, startups, NGOs as a lobbyist, strategist, and communications advisor. Glen was also the Secretary General of a European Trade Association for 5 years. Today, Glen is a respected commentator on European affairs as well as a frequent presenter, moderator, and panelist at European policy events. Welcome to the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast, Glen Hodgson.
Ed, thank you very much indeed. Great intro. I'm very happy to be here.
Well, first off, Glen, why do you do what you do?
I think it's a great question. I think this is the starting point for this, Ed, is just passion. To find something that you really enjoy, that makes you jump out of bed on a Sunday morning and say, right, I want to do stuff. I think this is the starting point for everything. And I think linked to that is also the ability to be able to move the needle, be able to have an impact, both on a personal, but also an issue and a societal level as well, to feel that you're making an impact, you're doing good, and being able to sort of share with other people. And I think at the same time, when the rubber hits the road, it's always good to be able to make money from it. I think it's a great test as well, that you can enjoy yourself every day doing great things and also get paid for it is absolutely crucial. So it's also a great test that you're in the right place and doing the right thing. And also, when I founded Trade Europa, one of my big drivers was to work with cool, smart, intelligent people, either as partnerships or to learn from them. So it's this ongoing space of kind of always being in beta. You're always learning, you're always evolving, and hopefully adding good things by having a great group of individuals around that you can learn from, you can use as a bit of a sounding board, and also take things hopefully further and onto a more developed level.
Tell me a little bit about what you're seeing with regard to some trends in free trade.
I think we're seeing some very interesting trends at the moment. You roll the clock back 20, 30 years, and everyone was on the same page. It was globalization, it was openness, it was choice. These were the watchwords, and we were all going down the same path. Where we're going now is something a little bit different. We're much more protectionist. This kind of reshoring of skills, opportunities, companies, the whole idea of being able to utilize your competitive advantage, whether this comes to raw materials or producing things, the knowledge industry. There is more of this mentality now that, and driven by the policy, the politics, and the regulation, to actually bring things back home and try and do everything in-house, so to speak. And I think this is certainly limiting. I think it's going to be very inefficient over the longer term, and also it's going to create divisions, aggressions, and different camps. And I think that the way we're going now, it's very much a them and us mentality, very protectionist mindset. This whole kind of a fortress mentality from a lot of governments is the watchword of the day. And I think it's something that's negative for populations. It's definitely negative for business. And at the end of the day, it's also going to be negative for citizens as well, Ed.
It's interesting. It's like you can go back to David Ricardo and comparative advantage and said, I thought we settled this question a long time ago, didn't we?
Yeah, I thought we did, and I thought we'd realize that there was a benefit. And we see certain countries, certain regimes that are picking winners with the old style industrial policy. All this does is waste resources. It takes us down blind alleys in some cases, and certainly stops us putting our time, effort, and resources into where we should be doing things. And also it prevents that sort of free trade idea, not just in goods and services, but also this free exchange of ideas, thoughts, and cultures, which I would say personally that society and individuals have benefited from massively over the past decades. And to actually be shutting up shop and turning away from that, I think is something that everyone will be the poorer for taking this stance.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think even Brexit, to my way of thinking, was more about autonomy than it was about breaking from a free trade agreement. Would you agree with that assessment?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you show me on the back of an envelope, write down the benefits of Brexit for the British nation, the British business, or the British population. I think you'd be struggling a long time to see any benefits. All we see is more restrictions, making it more complicated to do business, to move goods, for people to travel, for students to be able to live and work in different countries, or individuals who want to sort of find opportunities, whether it's UK to the rest of the world, or Europeans wanting to live, work, and study in the UK. And it's something that really, by putting up these barriers, it makes things, say, much more problematic. And it also makes everyone poorer as well. The economic advantages, as well as the cultural advantages, are really diluted by this very protectionist viewpoint. It's sad to see when we give, particularly from a UK perspective, the mentality of openness, of espousing different cultures, and also for British people to go out in the world, whether it's from a business perspective or it's just testing new things. I think this little islander mentality is not something that's positive for anyone.
And Glenn, we have an exit question that we ask all of our guests, and that is, who is a hero of yours and why are they a hero?
I think it's a great question. I think it's difficult to say one person, but I think there's certain kinds of people. I mean, there's the kind of David Goggins of this world who just push themselves to the limit in terms of squeezing out what they're available to do in terms of through dedication, through not accepting where you are, not complaining, and just getting things done. Then there's also the people like the Dr. Jordan Peterson who have a viewpoint, back it up with thoughts, and despite the naysayers and the negativity, they're people who can sort of move things forward and defend themselves and bring people on side and have a real impact in society. I like that. And I also like people like, we're on a podcast now, the Joe Rogans of this world, who do things their way, and not by following a corporate script, can actually gain a lot of attention, do things their way, and actually be more successful and more have more integrity by being more authentic. And I think there's a lot of things to learn from all these kind of people who are a little bit different, but also very interesting.
And lastly, Glenn, how can somebody get a hold of you?
Get in touch with me, various channels, at Trade Europa over Twitter. Get me, Glen Hodgson, on LinkedIn or on the Free Trade Europa website. Happy to hear thoughts, ideas, and comments, and always happy to get in touch. So yeah, please hit me up.
Well, we will definitely put links in the show notes, but Glen Hodgson, thanks so much for being a guest on the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast.
Absolute pleasure, Ed. Thanks for having me.
Review and subscribe by searching your podcast player of choice for Sage Thought Leadership Podcast.